So yes, today I will talk about overfitting and overspending and how really digital marketing, how really machine learning has been sold to everyone as a panacea that can solve all problems. And in my talk today, I hope to show that not everything, I mean, if you don't know how to use machine learning, it can have very bad consequences. So, first of all, something about myself. I'm 27 years old. I have a master's degree in psychology and data analysis. For work, I mainly use R and JavaScript, and recently I've started picking up SQL. After the talk, if you feel like you want to connect with me, don't hesitate to connect on LinkedIn. So I will start with just a small example on what happens when you make a Google search. So let's say that you are on Google and you would like to search for a loan online because you need money, right? So what happens? After you look for loan online, a couple of ads will appear on the screen. And actually, the advertisers have paid to show you their ad. So how does this work exactly? When you make an online research on Google search, what happens is that there are going to be advertisers who are going to bid a certain amount of money on a certain keyword. So basically what these advertisers are telling Google is that, look, Google, if someone looks for a loan online and if that user will click on my ad, I'm ready to pay 10, 30, 40 cents respectively. So in this particular case, the advertiser that has bid 40 cents will win the bid. So this advertiser will be able to show his ad to the user. And if the user clicks on the ad, that advertiser will pay 31 cents, which is the price of the second highest bidder, which is 30 cents plus 1 cent. And basically, the advertiser that paid 40 cents will be able to show you the ad. So if you click, that advertiser will pay something. If you don't click, that advertiser will not pay anything. And this is why this billing model is called cost per click, because the advertiser only pays if the user clicks. So to determine the bids, there are two ways to determine the optimal bid for a keyword. This can be done by a human, or this can be done by a machine, by using machine learning. The problem is that sometimes you may have huge accounts with 10,000 keywords in just one account, and it's not really easy to manage all those keywords. It actually becomes impossible. A human cannot do that manually. I mean, it will spend countless hours doing that. So what you could do is that you could rely on a machine. And actually, when you open a Google account, for instance, and you want to do a search campaign, the thing that Google will suggest, Google will basically tell you, look, man, give me all the money. I know your user better than you. I know how to take care of your money. I will make you a lot of money. Just trust me. This is basically what Google tells you. And to some extent, it's true. I mean, the machine learning algorithms of Google are incredibly powerful. But the problem is that machine learning can work well only and only if we have a lot of data and if we have quality data, which the problem is that when you first launch a digital marketing campaign, Google doesn't have much data. Yes, they may have data from other advertisers, but they don't have a lot of data about your unique situation, because each situation is unique. The landing page may be unique, the kind of ads that you write may be unique, the kind of users that you're trying to target may be unique. So Google doesn't have much data initially, but even if it doesn't have much data initially, Google will tell you, no, just trust me, just give me the steering wheel, I will take care of everything. And this can result in wasting a lot of money. A better approach, at least during an initial phase, is to use a heuristic approach. So what is a heuristic? A heuristic is basically a rule of thumb, right? So an example would be trying to predict the weight of a person by just using the height of a person, right? So in general, this works well. The taller a person, the heavier that person, right? Of course, there are differences, but this works pretty well. A machine learning algorithm probably would do much better if it had information such as the diet of the person, the age of the person, and stuff like that. The only thing is that if a machine learning algorithm has just a few observations, cannot generalize to data sets outside of the training sets. And so that cannot really work that well. So in this graph, I've made a simulation of what happens when you use a heuristic approach, and the red line represents the cumulative cost, and the blue line represents the cumulative revenue generated by a heuristic approach. So as you can see from the graph, the blue line is always on top of the red line, which means that basically we are making more money than we're spending. And when an advertiser is in this situation, that advertiser will be very happy. By using a machine learning approach, the problem is that initially the machine learning algorithms, they don't have much data to base their decisions. And what will happen is that you will waste money. And as you can see from the graph, the red line up to the vertical line is on top of the cumulative revenue of a machine learning algorithm, which basically means that up to the vertical line, we are spending more money than the money that we're generating. So we're just losing money, basically. And this can last for months. You may need to spend a lot of money before you reach the tipping point where the machine learning algorithms have enough data to run smoothly. And this is what I call also the depression period, because many advertisers, they don't know how machine learning works. They just think that, yeah, you just press a button and the Google will take care of everything. But no, there are some constraints that you need to respect if you want to take advantage of machine learning. And I call this a depression period because, yeah, you are depressed during this period because you're not making money. The thing is that if we compare a machine learning algorithm and the heuristic algorithm, we can see that up to the vertical line, the cumulative revenue of a heuristic algorithm is well above the machine learning algorithm. That means that by using a heuristic up to the vertical line, we would be making more money than by using a machine learning algorithm. But after the vertical line, actually the return on investment of a machine learning algorithm grows exponentially and way outperforms a heuristic algorithm. So what would be the best approach? The best approach would be to basically combine a heuristic algorithm with a machine learning algorithm. The best approach would be to use a heuristic algorithm up to the point where the machines have enough data. And once the machines have enough data, what you could do is that you could switch to a machine learning algorithm. And by using this approach, you would not lose money from the start. And you would be very happy because you would not lose any money. And now what you may be asking is that, is that you don't know for certain. It really depends. It really depends. For instance, if it's a niche market, then maybe you need more time because there is not enough data also from other advertisers. If it's a market such as loans that has been advertising on Google for a long time, then maybe you need a little bit less data. And so you don't know for certain. What I usually do is that I will create A/B tests between two campaigns that are exactly the same. The only difference between these two campaigns is that one campaign uses machine learning and the other campaign uses a heuristic approach. I would run this test for a month or until we have reached a statistical significance. And then if the machine learning algorithm performs better, then I will switch to the machine learning algorithm. And now you may be wondering, what heuristic do we use to make better predictions than a machine learning algorithm? Actually, unfortunately, this is the secret sauce that we have in my company. It's what we call our magic formula, and I cannot reveal it, but it's very simple, elegant, and effective. How does this work in practice? So in practice, this is how it works. What I do is that I use R to retrieve the data from Google Ads. So what I would do, I would retrieve the advertising historical data. By using that data, I will calculate the optimal cost per click that we should bid on for each keyword. Then what I will do, I will upload this data on a Google Sheet. And then by using JavaScript, I will reintegrate the newly calculated cost per clicks in the Google Ads console. and everything is running on the cloud, to be more precise, Google Cloud. Voila, this was my presentation. If you have any questions, if we have time to ask questions, do not hesitate to ask them.
Thank you very much, Arben. I didn't see questions being asked.
All right.
But if some people have some question coming later, please keep them for just after the presentation when we'll open the rooms for additional questions.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, I'm just checking how we are doing with time.
Oh, I see actually a question that was asked to me privately by Daniel Piquet. If
well,
I have time, may I answer that?
There is also a question that just came in, actually.
Okay. So,
so what would happen when all the bidders would follow the same procedure?
So that is also one thing that I've been wondering for a while, is that if all the bidders are using the same machine learning algorithms, that it means that we are on a level playing field. It means that anyone has the same capabilities, which doesn't give you necessarily an advantage. The advantage is actually based not necessarily on the algorithm, but on the use that you make of the algorithm, which is basically to know things such as, at what point do I have enough data that I can trust the machines? And not all people know this. And as a colleague of mine says, machine learning in digital advertising is like driving a Ferrari. If you know how to drive it, man, you can go really, really, really fast. But if you don't know how to drive it, you're gonna crash against a wall really badly. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Okay, and why would you say you need JavaScript? Are there any other options? Could you actually do your work without it?
So I would have actually loved to be able to do that work without it, and I would have probably never had learned JavaScript if it wasn't for this circumstance. The thing is that the R package that I use to connect to the Google Ads console only adds read access, which means that I can only retrieve the data from Google Ads, but I cannot manipulate the data to Google Ads. Actually, it's an API, so probably you just need to wrap the API with some functions, but I'm not able to do that. So the default language of Google Ads is JavaScript. So by using JavaScript, I'm able to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
And so I have a question that was sent to me privately from Daniel Piquet, which is, why does revenue increase exponentially with machine learning versus with heuristic? And so basically, if you use a heuristic approach, the revenue that you will generate will always remain the same, because it's a linear progression, because it's not like a machine that is learning through data, because you would use always the same rule. As I made an example with the weight and with the height, let's say that you say, okay, if a person weighs around 70 kilos, probably, no, if a person is 1 meter and 80 centimeters, tall, that probably that person weighs, I don't know, 70 kilos. And that judgment that you make about that person will not change based on the amount of data that you have. That will always remain the same. Whereas if you have a machine learning algorithm, the more data you gather, the better the algorithms will be, because you will have more data qualitatively and quantitatively. So that's why it increases exponentially instead of linearly.
Thanks a lot.